Good day, everyone, to today's webinar, What is LIMS? An introduction to the basics. My name is Philipp Osterwalder, and I'm the CEO of LIMS. Today, we are talking about a topic that's transforming laboratories around the world. LIMS, or Laboratory Information and Management System, is, whether you're new to the concept or considering implementing one in your lab, this session will be provided you with the foundation knowledge you need to understand what LIMS is, how it works, and the benefits it brings. We will also share real-world examples, case studies, and how labs have successfully adopted LIMS to overcome challenges and improve efficiency. So some housekeeping rules. The webinar will be recorded and will be afterwards available on our YouTube channel. If you have any kind of questions, just use the chat function and type your question. At the end, we have a Q&A session. You can ask your question directly, or our moderator will read it through. If you are interested to have the presentation slides, just send us an email at hello@onelims.com, and we will provide also the slides. For further question, also send us a request on hello@onelims.com. Some information about my side. I'm a skilled analytical lab technician and environmental engineer, specialized in lab digitalization, process automation, and some expertise in Lean Six Sigma. My passion is to help lab teams streamline their workflows, automate quality data and management, and also ensure compliance. My and our goal from LIMS is transforming data chaos all around the world from lab teams into actionable insights for faster and better decisions. Let's start with the webinar goals. So one overarching goal is to provide an in-depth understanding of a laboratory information management system, its functionalities, and its transformative potential for quality control, quality assurance, and service laboratories. So one of the main topics of today's webinar is the definition and the purpose of a LIMS, and the core functionalities and the usage and the benefits of a LIMS. Our topics and overview for today is, first of all, we will start with the definition of LIMS, then the core functionalities, the addressing challenges without LIMS. So what's the current state and where the actual challenges, the benefits of LIMS, how to implement a LIMS, and the best practices of do's and don'ts. First point, so the definition of a LIMS. What is exactly a LIMS? In simple terms, a laboratory information and management system is a piece of software that helps labs manage data, workflows, and processes in a centralized, automated way. Think of as a backbone of your lab's operation, bringing together everything from sample tracking to compliance reporting. So the key functionalities of a LIMS includes sample management. LIMS tracks samples through their life cycle, ensuring traceability and accuracy. Second is the workflow automation. Tasks like data entry, approvals, and report generation can be made automatic and save time and reduce errors at the end. And point 3 is the data centralization. All lab data is stored in one system, centralized, homogeneous, and in the same format, making it easily accessible and auditable. So also the key components already mentioned is the sample tracking, data management, and also the reporting. For a historical context, the evaluation from manual logs to sophisticated digital platforms. An example here from a pharmaceutical quality control lab, transitioning from their Excel spreadsheets, where they had a lot of, to one centralized LIMS for the FDA, Food and Drug Administration compliance. One of the most common misconceptions about LIMS is that it's only for large labs. What we face based on our experience in reality, LIMS can be tailored to labs of any size, making it versatile solution across industries like food production, pharmaceutical, and also material testing. So why LIMS is critical for today's laboratories? Let's explore the challenges labs face when they operate without the LIMS. So first point is manual workflows. They're slow, they're error-prone, and there are often a highly network of different processes with media breaks. Many labs rely on manual data entry and paper-based records. This not only consumes time, but also increases the likelihood of human error. The second point is the scattered data. The lab's data is often stored in multiple places, known as Excel spreadsheets. We had a client a year ago, they had 46 different spreadsheets for their product quality control data. They can also be spread over emails, even notebooks. This makes it very difficult to ensure traceability and compliance, or complicated at the end compliance. The third point is the audit stress. So everyone of know maybe rely on that it's a very big hassle preparing for audits without the centralized consistent records. This leads to time-consuming preparation and can also lead to big errors and mistakes. I recently worked with a food production lab, so quality control lab, that spends on average of 10 hours just preparing for each of their audits, because their data was scattered across multiple spreadsheets, paper records, and different sources, so out of ERP, MES, and the logistics systems. After we implemented a centralized system, they reduced their overall preparation time to just a half an hour for each of their audits. That's an enormous saving of time at the end, also some money, and freed up the lab team to focus on quality control and maybe also R&D. A question is also what kind of impact that these challenges have. So for the first point, for manual workflows, there are delays in decisions due to the manual reporting, which takes a lot of time and can cause a lot of money if the production stands still. Some scattered data, lack of traceability, leads to errors from data silos and also redundance. So to keep the same information spread over several spreadsheets. There is no change control or change management, and there is also no traceability to know which is the single source of truth. And the third point, increasing data complexity leads to audit pressure, as mentioned before already, due to inconsistent documentation. And these can cause really stress to the lab team and in the end also to the quality manager. Core functionality. So at the end, the core functionality has some basic functions. Want to split up of the most common functionalities which are important within a LIMS system. Let's start with the first three. So the sample registration and also the tracking. Number two is the automated workflows and data entry. And we have the approval workflows and the result calculations. There are some even more if you think we have a LIMS and we use a report generator, test report generator with the O4 certificate of analysis, or we have a master data, a module, which are available to manage articles, test methods, and test plans with different specifications and versioning. That's also true and is one of the core functions of it, or should be one of the core functions of LIMS. But we're just focusing on the really needed and the basic functionality of a LIMS. And the second one is reporting and printing. We have there the automated and configurable reports, kind of based on the corporate identity, corporate design, which is based on different templates can be provided. And also here, the example of the COA and the control charts for tracking trends. Another one are the compliance management, which we have the features like the audit trail, version control for test methods, or even test plans, and the electronic signature. This is also important for CFR Part 11, based on regulated laboratories. Example here is also a food testing lab, archived ISO, accreditation 70025 for compliance based on the LIMS. It's much easier then to get this certification and stay compliant, to have a less effort about all of documentation and traceability of the results and the data, and is much hassle-free than having all this based on paper or even spread about several Excel spreadsheets. Also another point, not all LIMS has this feature, is the equipment management, which leads to calibration and maintenance scheduling, kind of the OQ, IQ, PQ of the devices of the labs, to have also the connection or the linking to the test methods. And related to the equipment management is the integration with instruments for seamless data capturing. So also another one are the special modules. We have here the stability studies and environmental monitoring, supplier management, for instance. And here the example is the cosmetics lab, quality control, quality assurance labs using stability module for long-term studies. So this is related to the expiry date testing, for instance, or even if there are some feedbacks from the customers to cover and help all of these feedbacks related to the special modules. Here can also be set up a service middle layer, which provides a direct integration to, firstly, the service laboratories, maybe to, secondly, the lab devices itself or lab device systems, or thirdly, a third-party integration to ERP, MES, or any other kind of third-party software. Then we have the workflow automation. So tasks like approvals, report generation, or notifying technicians are done. Dynamic workflows for scheduling tests and managing priorities is one of these. And here the example is a material testing lab reduces turnaround time by automating their repetitive tasks. This can be, I call them donkey work, copy and pasting, or just generating of a report, or just sending a comment or a hint or an analysis result to the responsible person within a couple of clicks, instead of open up an email, type a text, copy and paste the screenshot. So there can be some functions which are crucial within the LIMS and are also crucial to use it for the digitalization in a laboratory. So addressing these challenges we faced before and talked about already without a LIMS can, so call them the manual processes, which are time consuming and also error prone. We mentioned before already also the data silos. As an input, these are real life examples based on our clients, and maybe rely on one of these or even on all of three of these examples. Still today, the picture in the middle with the sample, I can't identify what's written on this handwritten label. So there are also fragmented data across multiple systems, and there is, mentioned already before, this audit pressure from several companies in several industries for preparing the audits without a centralized data is very stressful, or can be very stressful for the overall lab team. Another standard situation in the lab that can cause some challenges is the heterogeneous zoo of different devices and their systems. This is kind of a big topic, because it's always necessary and also beneficial to start by integrating devices or device systems into a LIMS. It can be, if this is a highly used, highly engaging device, which provides also a lot of information, kind of a multi-method, which delivers hundreds of results or even thousands of results per day, then there can be a good point and a reason, and a calculated reason why an integration makes sense. But often it's also somehow expensive, and cost efficiency, cost benefit calculation makes a lot of sense. This is also what we provide to add value, to calculate what's kind of the benefit of an integrated device, rather than to have an export of the result files and an import into a LIMS at the first stage. It always makes sense if there is, as an example, for a high sample throughput laboratory, which has thousands of samples per day, and there should be also a workflow automation implemented, then there is also, makes it highly sense that there is an integration to this device system. So the benefits overall of an LIMS. So what we can see in here is the efficiency gains. So the automation reduces human error and also saves time. This is one of the big topics we also work on together with our clients, to move from a cost center based on the quality control, quality assurance laboratory, transform it into a profit center by reducing the human errors, reducing the manual efforts, automate as much as possible with the focus on the routine work, and also focus on the value-adding workflows. Through that, there can be then more efficient workflows and spend less time and also less money on the several tasks. Traceability is another point. So to have real-time tracking, responsible person out of the production wants to check an in-process control. It's easier to check a dashboard, a real-life dashboard with insights, instead of open up several Excel spreadsheets and didn't find what the production manager is looking for. Another point is the compliance confidence. So to integrate tools, different or just different laboratory tools systems, or just one to streamline adherence and regulations like FDA, ISO, IFS, or HACCP. And the fourth point is the enhancing of collaboration. So the communication and also connectivity and collaboration internally in a company is much higher if there is one homogeneous centralized system. Database enables the cross-department coordination. Real-life example, and based on our experience, we have here some key parameters of our client after an implementation of our LIMS platform, and by using this for another 12 months, they had an error, source of error minimization by 78% through centralized data management that eliminates completely silos, get rid of all of their Excel spreadsheets, and also get rid of all their paper forms. They gained an increase of 32% higher sample throughput. They could stay with the same amount of employees and invest the same amount of time, and could do a third more samples by just automating workflows, like creating labels with QR codes and reducing errors, which leads to save time. And one of the most important point, they saved nearly 50% of their analysis costs. And how? They used real-time insights and also risk-based test plans, analytical conductions, which improves decision-making and also the overall costs of the analysis. Our goal from LIMS is also to provide a holistic quality control or quality ecosystem. What does that mean? Is to have one platform which delivers all of the quality and laboratory data, which are also connected to the product data and the production data. This brings on connectivity to devices, and also to have an insight and a real-time insight about all the sample status. Connectivity to production means to MES and their sensors and product parameters, and also to have a direct integration to their ERP system, to have a traceability through the supply chain. Another point which we provide as one of the only LIMS suppliers worldwide who have a direct integration to several globally working service laboratories like Eurofins or Labor Dr. Friedle or Tentamus SGS in Germany. So our clients can use the portal in one LIMS, create one order, and send then their request directly to their favorite service laboratory, and get then, after the conduction, the result back automated. Other third-party integrations like device systems or logistic systems or some LMS, for instance, or laboratory notebooks that can be also integrated if there are some valuable data included. And there's no magic at all over this, but to have one database which collects all the quality and lab data, and it's freely searchable through it, makes it very powerful to have all the data in one place and can be exported and also forwarded or integrated in any other system if this is needed. How we work and how we proceed and how a LIMS implementation should be done from our perspective and based on our experience is to start always, I repeat, start always with an assessment. An analyze phase to lay down the fundamental processes, to conduct the laboratory and quality KPIs, to create a process map we do it based on Lean Six Sigma tools like multi-moment analysis or the process map based on value stream mapping and SIPOC. And then work or evaluate the bottlenecks and create an action plan, an implementation plan, together with clients to define a roadmap and a timeline. This is our fundamental stage. This is where the success of the digitalization project and also the LIMS implementation starts. Not necessary, but sometimes very useful. Added value to the overall process is the optimization, streamlining and challenging of the fundamental workflows. This can bring additional added value to the table if there are organically grown workflows. And it reminds me on a sentence we heard a lot of some clients. We have done it always like this. Maybe there ring some bells. We heard it already. So there is the word that never touch a running system, but at the end, continuous improvement brings long-termly more than just rely on the static error-prone processes and never touch them in case there can be something wrong. So we learned that optimization, even in the smallest steps, bring long-term a leverage for the team, for every single lab technician, and overall also for the company. In the third phase, we start with the onboarding. We do a technical alignment based on the business requirements, user requirements, and also system requirements for the adaptation and configuration. And we do the power user and best practice user trainings for the onboarding. After the training and after the testing phase, we start with the automation of the fundamental workflows. And then there can be also, after a couple of months usage, there will be the integration, the connectivity to enhance the automation of the workflows. And at the end is our fourth phase, is the overall care and the support to deliver new features, to deliver the new releases, to deliver more information and knowledge, which is shared in our One LIMS community, within our expert board, our clients and potential clients, and all interested parties who wants to learn the basic principles of lab digitalization and automation. Why? We get a lot of the questions why to improve before digitalization. And I want to clarify this with an easy chart based on efficiency and also then effectiveness. And most of the CEOs and also lab managers or quality managers think by implementing a new tool, introducing and training our employees on this new tool, we can get rid of all the problems we have right now. We get rid of the bottlenecks, we get rid of the error-prone processes, we get rid of data loss, or we get lost of the missed traceability. But based on my experience, that's wrong. That's partially true, but most of them is not wrong. And why? Because if we take these long, complex, error-prone processes and we just digitalize them and automate them, we have a digitization. There is a nice word in English, digitization. That's just a one-on-one copy of the same process, digitalized and automated. But there's no additional value to it. Just an increase, a slightly increase of efficiency to automate this process. Where we start with our one LIMS method is to think of the fundamentals and the principles of this process. What's the goal? What's the format? Where it starts and where should it ends? And to reduce it and streamline it and make it as compact and robust as possible. And then we digitalize those streamlined workflows to gain value in the dimension of efficiency and effectiveness. And this brings, based on our experience and our customers all around the world, to much more happiness. Because they implemented not only the mindset of continuous improvement, they also have structured and safe processes they can rely on. They are standardized, and also they can be scaled in no time. How to implement a LIMS? So we talked a lot of the challenges, the functions of LIMS, how it can bring at the end. But if you have no idea or no clue about LIMS, I want to share with you a very straightforward roadmap. How are we going to tackle this implementation in 5 easy steps? Step 1, as also mentioned before, is the evaluation and the assessment. So to identify the need. Where's the pain point? What's your biggest challenge in the laboratory, and what do you want to reach? A selecting process can also be a very tedious process and decision. If you need more information about several LIMS types and how to decide and choose the right LIMS for you, we have the LIMS Buyer's Guide on our website. If you want to have insights about this, just drop a comment or let me know, then I also can forward it to you. Otherwise, check our website on onelims.com and you can find it in the header toolbar. So selecting the right LIMS, key factors in here are defined on the industry and also on the lab needs. For instance, there can be the scalability. If you have different subsidiaries worldwide and want to start in the headquarter and then want to roll it out on different subsidiaries, so the scalability is important. The integration potential or the functionality to integrate it in ERP, SAP system, MES, to the devices, or even have the interface for the service laboratory. Capabilities and the industry-specific features. For instance, sample tracking, sample labelings, the certificate of analysis, or maybe some other reports like purchase specification. How are this done by your company? Or the technical data sheet. How is this provided? Are you doing this with a Word template or Excel template and have to always copy and paste it, create a PDF out of it, and send it then to your clients or suppliers? So this can be automated very easily. Then the implementation strategy based on your internal resources and capabilities. Here we provide a pilot projects. So within the digitalization phase, there is a testing phase and an onboarding phase with the trainings. That's called kind of the testing workflows and get a feedback from the clients directly within this testing phase. Training and change management is part 4, engaging users early to ensure successful adaptations. This is also one of our basic philosophies to include all of the responsible person and the team members and the earliest stage as possible to increase the commitment and also the understanding why such a digitalization project is done. And also it gives an alignment of all of the responsible and the tackled person in the team to have an alignment and also a committed understanding of the goal and also of the roadmap. And phase 5 is the measuring of the success. So what we also do at the end of the implementation phase, after a successful using of the system, we do another evaluation of the new current state. KPIs, reduced errors, faster sample throughput, or even compliance metrics. Can also be how much time is used for a sample or the data administration. We also do some surveys, and we find out at that point as a short comment that between 30 and 45% of the time of a quality control lab technician is burned just for documentation, creating or generating reports, copy and pasting results, and maintaining the different spreadsheets and paper forms. So if you round that up to 50%, so half of the time of a lab technician, which the really work is to do quality control, analysis, and stability testing, and maybe the maintenance of the devices, but doesn't bring that much money to the company itself. But at the end, the analysis of the quality control tests is something at the main focus of a lab technician. This is at the end what brings the value to the company. But 50% of the time is burned just for data administration. So let that think, and think if this is the same case at your company. So best practices I want to share also for do's and don'ts at that point. Want to have the continuous improvement, as mentioned before already, so regularly review and update workflows to adapt to new challenges. This can be some adaptations from the market, or also some new requirements from the clients, or new requirements from the suppliers. Can also be some challenges. The case studies, do internally case studies. I like the kind of term, and I love to always work together, if we're going to work together with clients, to open up a case study, to define the current state, define the roadmap, implement, and then evaluate again. And if the differences are too big, to re-evaluate again and improve, as long as the goal is reached. And we have the lessons learned. So success hangs on clear goals, user engagement, and also ongoing support. This is also meant to be on the digital side, so on the supplier side, which provides the LIMS system. What we also have as best practices is some do's. Engage stakeholders, so bring everything or everyone on one page, align everyone internally about the vision, the goal, the structure. So this is a very crucial point to get the overall commitment. I always teach start small, even a single step to get rid of or reduce multiple Excel spreadsheets into one can be a small step to enhance performance in the laboratory. But at the end, If you want to scale and if you want to have a leverage, you have to standardize all the steps. Every working step and every slightly piece has to be in a standard operating procedure and has to be copy and pasted to gain the same result. These are the basics for scalability. And so vendor support is also some important thing. We learned that through the last decade, that support fast and the expertise support is very crucial to build up the foundation of the partnership, and also for the client side feel trust and also feel the connectivity to the partnership, that the trust in the application and also in the vendor. Don'ts, very crucial, avoid overcomplicating processes. We talked about this earlier, to make it the process as easy and simple as possible. Keep it simple always. Don't neglect tracing and changing management. So don't break the entire team. Don't stress it up because you just want to implement LIMS. Also, digitalization can start with very small steps. And it's very important, even we see this, that the training is important to get to know and onboard into a new application, can get rid of frustration, because we are all stressed out. We don't have time to learn a new application in our working time. So it's very helpful to have a guided and simple, understandable manual and also workshop in person to guide and work through step by step for each of these application, not only for LIMS. To break this down on the key benefits of the digitalization, point one is always the process. So it leads to faster workflows and it leads to the possibility of automated reporting. Number two is the data. So a lot of mentioned today, so the centralized storage of real-time data, homogeneous, structured, and always exportable, and always available. Doesn't matter where you are. And number three is the team. So I had to learn that always business is a people's business, and the team, the lab technician, the human on the bench is the single one person we have to onboard on our application and on our philosophy of one LIMS. That he trusts in the process we deliver, and he trusts in the application we deliver. And if the team is on the board, I think that's, from my point of perspective, that's the heaviest part of all, to get this mindset shift and also to get the commitment. Because this leads to reduce of workload and also to focusing the whole team on value-adding tasks. Why is digitalization essential? Also, I mentioned before, efficiency gains through automation, scalability, improve compliance and audit readiness at any time, and the future proving. This can be an advantage of the market. If a quality control lab, quality assurance, R&D lab uses a LIMS, use digitalization and automation, this can be an advantage for this company by using this data and use it for faster and better decisions. If you want to look into a case study, we brought out together with Polygal from paper chaos to clarity, check the QR code, and also a detailed case study report on our website from Polygal. They started with slow workflows, scattered data, and audit struggles. And they gained centralized data, faster turnaround, and also audit readiness every time. And the lab technicians and the overall lab team since then is much more relaxed. They have also time for a chat, also time for improvements left and right, and also time to communicate in a much deeper way. They overall gained improvement efficiency with automated workflows, streamlined audits with complete traceability, and also empowered their team to focus on value-adding tasks as R&D and method improvements. So this overall isn't just about technology. From my point of view, it's about creating or implementing a system that supports your team's work and also goals, and not work against your goals. If you're interested to get more information or even more case studies, also available on our website, we also provide some in-depth information about different industry solutions like food and beverage or material testing, or even from environmental service labs, the best fit and the right solution. Or if you have no clue at all and don't know where to start, we also provide a quick lab check. Takes roughly 15 minutes and are 20 questions where you can ask to determine your actual current state. And you will get back an action plan, a tailored action plan to your needs and requirements, and also a discovery call where we can go in detail and find out and evaluate your bottlenecks and also your future state. Already at the end of this session, thank you very much for joining today. Till now, are there any kind of questions from your side? You can unmute your mic and ask your question, or you can type into the chat box and type directly your question. So I think no so far. Otherwise, send us an email or also a request over the website. So to want to conclude this overall, in conclusion, LIMS, as mentioned before, is more than just a software. It's a tool that empowers labs to operate efficiently, complied, are confident, and make better decisions. To conclude this, thank you very much for joining today's webinar. I hope also this session has given you valuable insights into what LIMS is and how it can transform your lab. We will do for sure a second and a third series of this webinar to dig into different functions, functionalities, modules, the implementation roadmap, and also the assessment phase. And if you are ready to take the next step, feel free to reach out to us, and then let's build smarter labs together. Thanks very much. Take care and have a good day.